Okay, so today we're going to go through a correct score strategy for football, okay? And we're going to go through and we're going to see what stats we need. I'm going to give you some ideas of what to look at so that you can develop your own strategy so that you can trade correct score and hopefully make some money on Betfair. Full disclosure, this won't be a specific strategy. I'm not saying follow this exact strategy and you will make money. I'm going to show you some examples of how I use the correct score market and how you can do so as well. One of the massive advantages of the correct score market is that the odds tend to be big. And hopefully I'll be able to show you some examples of those. We'll see how much liquidity is in the matches today. The first thing we're going to do is find some games to trade. So if we type into the box at the top here, and this is the BetfairTradingCommunity.com stats software. If you don't have that already, go to BetfairTradingCommunity.com and check out if that's something you want. And now if I put the date in, you can see here it comes up with all the games for today. So I'm going to look at some of the games. So let's start with Helsingborg versus Degerfors. So we've got the game here. Now, what I want you to look at here, there's a box here with the halftime scores in. And this is where we're going to focus, the halftime and the full-time scores. That's where I focus most of my action for correct score. Okay, now we can see that quite often they've had 0-0 at halftime. We can see that they've had 0-1 quite a lot at halftime. We get into percentages, it's actually clearer to look at. So 25% of the time it's been 0-0. 30% it's been 0-1. Okay, that's interesting. Let's have a look at full-time scores because this is where it really gets interesting for me. And you can see here that 30% of the time it's been 1-1. Okay, and you can go, okay, that's a lot of the time. That means nearly a third of the time, right? So around 2-1 odds, just a little bit higher than that, it's landing 1-1. So straight off the bat, you could look at that and go, that looks like a strong scoreline. That looks like the kind of scoreline you could back here and hopefully make a profit on during the game. And the nice thing with a scoreline like 1-1 is that there's a lot of ways to profit from that scoreline. If either team goes 1-0 at one point in the game, 1-1 is likely to shorten, especially if it's later on in the game. Same sort of scenario if it's 0-0 at half time. You've still got a good chance of 1-1. So it's a kind of scoreline where unless there's two really quick goals for one side, it doesn't tend to hurt you too much. So that's something to keep in mind here. Now, the other couple of scorelines that stand out here, 2-2 is actually pretty solid at 15%. So I might look here and go, okay, there's kind of three scorelines that stand out: 0-1, 2-2, and 1-1. Now, you might think, well, just back all three then. And the nice thing with the correct score market is that if you do take on all three matches, you will get good odds still. Okay, so the odds are going to be pretty high. So let's have a quick look at those odds if we get the Betfair prices. Now, this will be done on last price match. So if it hasn't had any money matched, there might not be a price available. But look how high a price 2-2 is here. It's been matched at 15.5. Okay. Now we can even see the money matched. And you see not a ton of money matched on this market yet. But that's really interesting, right? Okay, 15.5. So we know that that's huge odds. So that might be something where we go, okay, that is something that interests me. How would I play this? 0-1 to me is not a great scoreline to play if you're backing 1-1 and 2-2. The reason is that unless the away team scores first, you're in trouble. Because let's say it goes 1-0 to the home team, and often it will, and let's check the odds for the match. We can see that the home team, as usual, are favourites. Okay, not by much. It's almost a coin flip there, 2.62 to 3.0. But they are still favourites. So we know that there's a chance that they will score first. Okay, let's go back to the historical stats. So I think we can actually say we're not going to take 0-1 here. Now, the next question then becomes, well, do we go for 1-1 and 2-2, or do we just go for one or the other? Well, this is up to you. In this spot, I would probably take 1-1 and 2-2, mainly because for a little bit of protection, if it goes 2-0 to either of the sides quickly, you've still got the chance with 2-2 of it coming off. But mainly because of the fact it's happened 15% of the time. And if we look at the totals, it's happened 3 times out of these games. So if we're getting odds of 15 plus, and we know this has happened 3 out of 20 occasions, we know we're getting good value there, right? So we can go, okay, that's worth a play. And again, at those kinds of odds, you don't need to be putting much money on. This is the key. If I was splitting a stake, I'd probably use a small to medium stake, probably a small stake in this scenario if the odds are big. And I'd split my stake between 2-2 and 1-1. Now, you could do that 50-50. I might do it 66% on 1-1, 33% on 2-2, because I know that 1-1 happens twice as often. 1-1 odds are going to be shorter. They're usually around 7.0 plus on Betfair. But I know that, well, if I'm getting a market here where the odds are 7.0 and 15.5, they're really good odds to combine. I can Dutch it. And then if the game goes my way, I'll likely be able to take a profit at some point. And the nice thing, if you do connected score lines like this, so like I say, 0-1, 1-1 and 2-2, they're kind of connected, but you need the away team to score first. 1-1 and 2-2 are connected. If it's 1-1 at half time, you will likely be able to make a profit on both markets. Quite a considerable one on the 2-2 outcome. Okay? If it's 1-0 at half time, both are still in play. Your odds of 2-2 might come in a bit if it's the home team. Well, it won't matter so much in this case because it's kind of a coin flip. But 1-1 odds will certainly have come in. And you'll be in a nice position. So they're kind of connected. And that's where you want to be thinking. You want to be thinking, how do I make money on this? And what do I do when it goes my way? Now, you do, of course, have the danger when there's a goal with these two score lines, that if there's a second goal and it goes 2-0, you've lost your 66%, let's say, bet if you put 2/3 on it. Now, that's something you have to think about. And that's why when it goes 1-0, if you can reduce your liability on 1-1 and the price has come in your way, it's a good opportunity to do that. And of course, if it goes then 1-1, you're laughing, right? And again, with the 2-2, if you get a chance to get some money out of and take some of the risk out, that's what I suggest to do. That if you only take one thing from this video, right, I would probably say it should be this. If you get the chance to take your liability out on the correct score market and leave a profit in on even just one side of the market, do so. If you can get to a situation where you're taking zero risk moving forward, that's always a situation I want to be in as a trader. Remember, matches can turn on a dime. You can get goals quickly. They can come out of nowhere. You don't want to leave your money in any longer than you need to, and you don't want to take any more risk than you need to. And that is one of the keys to being successful on Betfair. The key to a successful Betfair trader is someone who doesn't take risk any longer than they need to, and certainly doesn't overstake and use big stakes. And in this scenario, we would certainly not be doing that. If you are enjoying this video, we have a free gift for you, absolutely free. All you need to do in the comments is say the word Super Trader, and we will send that over to you, and that will help you with your Betfair trading training. Okay, guys, back to the video. Let's look at one more match today, and I'm going to use the, let's go for Go Ace Sierra. Okay, similar kind of situation here. Let's go back to percentages. But what I want you to look at here is how varied the percentages are here. To me, okay, 2-1 is a fairly strong scoreline. And if you told me, Martin, I want to place a correct score bet on this match, I'd say back 2-1. Right, and just see if it comes in, because again, you'll get good odds. Now, again, I don't know if anything will be matched on this market. Nothing's been matched on this market yet. The game's a few days away. But the key thing here is to say that, look at that, 2-1, 20%. Now, you could go to that market and go, well, I'm definitely going to get better odds than 4-1. You're definitely going to get better odds than 5.0. So you should get a price at its value, and then you can trade it accordingly. And again, this is an important thing, right? I'm not really interested if it finishes 2-1. I'm interested if we get to a point in the match where I can take my profit on 2-1. Because the correct score market, there's so many score lines. As you can see here, look, how many are there? Like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, like nearly 20. And then you've got any unquoted, which covers all the 4+ goal outcomes. if one team scores 4. So there's a lot of things that can happen here. So that's why we want to get in and get out when we can. Again, a really good tip for trading in general. So this match in particular doesn't greatly interest me. If you wanted to know what I'd trade here, I'd probably leave it, but if forced to do anything, I'd trade 2-1. But make sure you can see the stats in play at least if you can't watch the match. Obviously, watching the match is ideal, and then trade accordingly. When it goes your way, don't be afraid to take the risk out. If it goes really against you and you need to take some loss out and just accept a red, that's also something that you want to think about doing, because you don't want to lose all your stake every time it doesn't go your way. All right, guys, hopefully that's given you some clarity on the correct score market. If you've enjoyed this video, please say the word score, and that will let me know you've liked it and you want me to do more videos like this in the future. These are the stats you will need for your correct score trading strategy.